Okay, so new characters, new draw. Whose turns?
Well, you two.
Do you stay in?
I would skip my turn because I've been playing every turn, fighting my guy.
Okay, so then it's
I would say
you and me.
Fair for someone else to go.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
A new player replaces them in
4,
Oh,
5,
well,
6.
yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
One. It's this one, right?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I did not like my options
6.
there. I was like, my cards is like,
It's rough.
there was nothing I could do. I was like, well,
Honestly,
okay,
when I
let's.
first pulled- Sorry, go on.
So I was like, well, let's have fun. Let's have a
Right.
let's have
Let's
a
be
useless scuba the suit there.
Well, when I first pulled out my things, I was like, oh, my Trapper? Like, what am I going to... You know what I mean? But then I thought... Because I got Hercules again. So then, okay, I'm not going to play Hercules again. So I had Trapper and someone else. Dr. Horrible. And I watched the movie a long time ago, but I don't remember, like, what...
It's
what
not a
it was
movie.
like. Well, there was a movie.
It's a TV. It was an internet show.
Well, there was a movie, because I watched a movie.
Really? Did they edit it all together?
With, what's his name? Patrick Stewart?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris.
It was a 3-part musical internet show.
I'm sure I watched it with you, if anything, so you might...
Yeah, I think I
know
showed it to
more.
you.
Yeah. Web series, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a movie.
Okay. Anyways.
But anyway.
I forgot about the web series. What
You
the
did.
thing was, so I
That's
was scared about Trapper, but it worked.
A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do.
And I was gonna say like a Trapper with parkour, with like this is like combination. That combination is fucking dangerous.
Right.
It had to go, quite frankly. It was
Yeah.
way too OP.
I'm excited for this new matchup, though.
That's a full-on JoJo boss right there.
Damn, Reggie's thinking about
He's
it.
taking his
rough.
time.
It's rough. Can you put these in the discard pile, please?
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I have
Present your fighter.
the Common Cold and a returning the lightsaber, the Kylo Ren lightsaber.
The Common Cold armed with a
Ooh.
lightsaber versus, thank fucking God, the Iron Giant
Oh my god.
that throws balloons of water filled with acid. Rather, water balloons filled with acid. Okay.
Can you remind the audience who the Iron Giant is?
The Iron Giant, one of my favorite animated movies, is a giant robot
Okay.
that was voiced by Vin Diesel
Oh.
and has a pure heart, is a very good person, but is also armed to the teeth with death weapons.
And is a robot. There's no flesh.
Yes.
Okay.
It is a sentient robot.
Okay. You may resume. Thank you.
Black card.
Yes, indeed. Can you tell
The
me?
Iron
off?
Giant, throwing water balloons filled with acid, can only be killed with a stake to the heart. Did we shuffle this properly? I feel like I'm pulling from the deck that we already...
But we're halfway through the deck, too.
Yeah, we're halfway to the end.
But we
Yeah,
already
these
drew-
one, these two
Shouldn't this
were-
be in the discard pile? Did we touch the wrong pile?
Is that-
No.
No, we took this
It's the right
pile.
pile.
Is that from the first for trial?
I also pulled Hercules.
If it's from the trial, I will shuffle back.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
And the Common Cold, armed with a lightsaber that has 2 smaller lightsabers sticking out of the hilt, armed with a piranha launcher.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you
this
don't-
is all the stuff
It's
that we
because
had
you
earlier.
don't really have many cards, so that's why we come back already.
I guess they were shuffled but still stuck together or
Let
something.
me just see something. Okay, no, this is not the same deck. All right, yeah. I think at some point the same cards... I think we... One game, put the wrong cards in the wrong place. So this is discard, this is fresh.
No,
Alright.
all I'm saying is that because from the first the game we try out, I shuffled everything in.
Gotcha, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so quite frankly, it's the Common Cold. It's not going to beat a robot. That's the basics on that.
Okay, I give you 2 minutes.
We don't got...
No, I don't need a timer.
You don't need a timer. It's fine. It's the Iron Giant. It's the cold's not going to do anything to him. Basically, with that, it's another case of he can fly to space. He can fucking, it does a bunch of cool shit. These weapons are not going to do anything, right? Those are not going to be because it's the Common Cold, right? It's doesn't have a, it's not going to. If it was any sort of person, it would have made him sick, and he would have lost to that type of thing. But in this case, with that, no real chance. Plus, I would say that as a form of virus, at the very least, being smothered in acid would still work against something biological, because it's acid. It's killing anything that's living if it is hit with it.
I think the only point to argue here right now is whether the Common Cold could maneuver the lightsaber and defeat the Iron Giant.
That's what I'm thinking.
Now, what's happening is that the Common Cold spreads really easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could definitely get on the Iron Giant, which would nullify your water balloons because you can't set them on yourself. And Common Cold spreads really fast. So assuming that I can get on you, and I can wield that lightsaber because I'm armed with it. It's not like, if it's an arm, it means that I'm using it, right?
Well, you see, that's the complication with this, right? Because,
can I be armed with something?
Because if it's the Common
it?
Cold, right? Again, it is, you can get on metal, but what happens to when if you're sick and you cough on a fork, like, and then it's just a fork on it, right? And then you wait you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna go anywhere unless someone picks it up and.
But it has lasers as lightsabers.
But it's a small,
so it's going to be going.
But it's that's the thing is, like,
can you dissolve a lightsaber with acid?
The hilt you can.
Hilt?
You can dissolve the hilt. You can't dissolve the energy itself. But can this Common Cold manipulate the actual lightsaber, or even make use of these weapons? Quite frankly, I think the piranhas would all die in the piranha launcher, so there wouldn't even be a shot at getting those, because those are living things wielded by the Common Cold. They get eliminated by it anyway. The lightsaber is your best shot, but I don't know if invisible microscopic bacteria can wield a giant normal-sized Kylo Ren lightsaber. It just doesn't make sense. We've never seen the Common Cold manipulate a physical object before. And it doesn't travel on its own up that metal. It has to go through the biological passageways to actually do some damage to you, which there are none on the Iron Giant.
What do you have to say, Reggie?
I'm just a judge. I'm listening.
I throw the towel.
Are you sure? I feel like I can argue this.
Because the Iron Giant is metal, and we are negating the wielding of the lightsaber right now.
I think it's a bad draw. I think it's a bad draw. I think it's a bad draw. I think there could have been an argument if I had picked, like,
something living.
Because then it literally becomes, can't wield a weapon, but then it just dies.
How do you eradicate the Common Cold? Humans haven't even done that yet. So with your acid, you would have to, like, cover the entire Earth to actually beat the Common Cold.
But it could, barring the giving infinite time in a way, right? You're looking at a situation where the Iron Giant has a large task, but the Common Cold's coming at it. It could be done holding the weapons it has, whereas the Common Cold cannot hurt the Iron Giant.
It can't hurt it with the lasers?
No, there's no wielding of the lasers.
But we're talking about a fantastical game here where a Common Cold has a mechanic. It has piranhas.
The dead piranhas, because they've all been affected by the same cold.
But but that's what I'm saying.
Maybe the Common Cold doesn't affect piranhas. Maybe it's not like it's just for humans, and it's not.
Maybe or definitely, because this is your character.
Yeah. I'm thinking that, like, a disease, as we know, a virus, it's not.
Yeah,
it can't wield a lightsaber. It's
fine.
Fine.
I feel like your creativity is weak.
I feel that turning on a lightsaber in the presence of a viral or bacterial type of thing would roast it. It's almost a cauterization. In its own presence, its weapons are defeated by the very essence of what it is. Yeah. It stands very little chance of getting anywhere, unfortunately.
Unless the Common Cold evolves, which it can and always does, and becomes a sentient mobile or something, and starts wielding.
Now we're pulling another card out. The quality of that evolution is basically another card. So How do you guys feel, judges?
I'll go first. My vote is for Woolie
Yes.
because you didn't fight your case,
It was hard.
Reggie.
I don't envy your position.
It was hard.
You know, it was saying, for example, a common cold cannot use a lightsaber. I disagree with that. By the thing that the card itself, it says the common cold is armed with the lightsaber, armed.
Yeah, I said arm, but this was
which
rejected.
No, it's not rejected. If by saying that it's armed, it implies that it's a weapon you can use because you.
That's how I started the whole argument.
But you changed your mind. You accepted it that you accepted his argument. You didn't fight. You didn't.
Steph, how do you feel?
I'm gonna go with the Iron Giant. I think there was a way to argue your point.
Yeah,
but I was not convinced with the way.
Exactly. See, right now I'm fighting for you. I'm arguing for you. Yeah. But when Woolie was telling you that your lightsaber was useless, you accepted it. You accepted it. So that's why I cannot give the points to you.
I understand that.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like I denied this point for not fighting against France.
That's pretty much what happens.
Yep. I understand.
All right.
You're the champion.
I'm getting
a Kirby. Or is it a Kirby?
Surprised Kirby. They're all Kirby's, man.
Okay, cool.
All right, here we go. Iron Giant, still in the ring.
Okay, Minh. Good luck. I hope we don't get a three-time champion again.
That cold could have defeated the Trapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you turn it inside out and it's still a cold. You know what I mean? Like that.
Well, it's cell membrane.
Yeah,
turning inside out.
You could have argued that.
Yeah, I mean, then we get really granular. You know,
biology.
That's why I think it's OP. You can't touch it.
The nucleus gets exposed.
If there's a word that I don't understand,
Let me see.
allowed to? Well, I mean, you're a player.
Oh, okay.
Am I allowed to?
Is it a character or is it? It's a character.
It's a character.
Consult whoever you think.
Well, I guess you can ask no matter what.
You did ask earlier.
Either you pick it or you don't pick it.
What's that?
Oh, that's
Oh, you don't even say it. You can say actually. Oh, okay.
Like, it wouldn't even hurt if you showed all his cards.
If I just told him, well, he doesn't have to show his cards. You can just tell.
Yeah. I feel like this card, I don't understand the word, but by definition, it feels super strong. But I'm using something else that feels much more fun to use.
Okay.
So, I am a kaiju riding on a nuclear missile. Because that sounds like fun.
That's a really fun choice. I respect your fun choice. Hats off to you. That is the perfect opponent
for a giant
fucking robot. Giant. I like it. I like it. A kaiju are the monsters from Pacific Rims, like Godzilla. Oh. Giant monster fights giant robot.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Okay.
And riding a nuclear missile. Very cool. I have a couple thoughts on that, but let's see your modifier first.
Modifier, let's go. Which is, can you read it for me?
Kaiju riding a nuclear missile that regrows body parts at will.
Ooh, this is too good. This is too good.
That's a really fun choice. Now,
you want to start this?
All right. As the reigning champion, that's a really fun choice.
Right.
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 Fun.
Yes.
But is it the right choice? Ladies and gentlemen, no. All right, here's the thing, right? I'm turning it towards the camera.
Yeah, but I needed to read it where...
Okay. So, here's the fun thing, right? The Iron Giant versus the Kaiju is the most perfect battle, and we've seen robots go down to Kaiju, we've seen Kaiju go down to robots, right? Mm-hmm. Riding a nuclear missile. Now, you haven't seen the Iron Giant. Have you seen it?
No.
Have you?
I don't remember it.
Okay. The Iron Giant ends with the giant riding a giant missile from the town to save it into space and blowing itself up.
Yeah.
It literally does this as its ultimate victory, right? And everyone's happy. Hogarth has a great memory of that day, and everyone, and Vin Diesel, yay, right? So the movie ends with that noble self-sacrifice as a W, right? The Iron Giant saves everybody and wins his ultimate struggle by
killing himself and losing
by doing what he was programmed to do, or not even what he was programmed to do, by going against his programming and saving his friend and doing the right thing. So this card is in his plot. It's a part of what what happens in his canon storyline, right? Now, the regrowing of the body parts at will is incredibly strong, and I would say that if it were not for the first two parts I brought up, the hand-to-hand battle, Iron Giant would lose it, right? Because he eventually just gets dismantled, and the HP grows back, the limbs are too strong. But if it's riding that nuke, and Hogarth and the Iron Giant does what he does in the movie, he rides it out into space the same way he did in the movie. Everyone goes, no, and the kaiju's on it.
Yeah.
The kaiju's on the missile.
Oh, okay.
Right? The way it's as stated, and then they fly out, and in space...
And the robot dies?
He does...
So they're both losers?
He sacrifices himself. The nuke is... At ground zero, that's the only way you're taking out something that's regenerating, right? In a lot of stories, there's either two ways... Whenever something regenerates, there's only two ways to go about it. It's either seal it so that it sinks to the bottom of the ocean or floats in space forever, or... completely disintegrated. And I'm saying that the Iron Giant does what he does at the end of his own movie, and he rides that bomb into space and takes out the threat and saves the day like a hero.
Minster?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Is it my turn? Let's address the first thing first. Throw water balloons filled with acid. I feel like my regenerated capability counters that immediately. So that thing is super useless for you.
Yeah,
From you.
I think it would slow...
It's not my turn.
Sorry?
It's my turn.
I'm sorry.
I let you say everything you need to say.
I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Can only be killed by a stake through the heart. You know what my stake is? The nuclear missile. That's what I'm doing. Because I am riding the nuclear missile, but he said that he wants to ride it, but it doesn't say that he's riding it. Even if the backstory says that he's riding it. Right now the text here clearly says, I'm the one riding it. I'm the one riding the nuclear missile into his heart. Boom! Killing through the heart like a stake. Through the heart and kill it like that, because that's the only way you can kill it. And if after that, if that's not over, the nuclear missile explode there. And if let's say for real, he's riding the nuclear missile. If you go through the story, the Iron Giant story, he dies in the end. But it doesn't mean I'm dying, because I still get regrows body parts at will. So I'm gonna regenerate after the nuclear explosion.
Okay,
right.
so counterpoint. The nuclear explosion, if we were to look at think about Cell, right, from Dragon Ball almost, and think about an enemy like that where if you have a single cell left, right, it's gonna regrow back. But the nature of how he dies is a large enough burst of energy that he wipes all cells out. There's no traces left to regrow. Mm-hmm. They are nuked, right? Here's the second part of it. Only killable with a stake through the heart. If the giant takes the blast, that's not a stake to the heart. That's simply the explosion itself. It says only a stake to the heart.
He was saying using the missile as a stake.
So now what is a stake, right?
Does it have to be wooden, or can anything pointy be considered a stake?
I suppose that's up to the judges, right? I would say, personally, when we talk about a stake to the heart, we're thinking of vampires, we're thinking of killing Dracula. That's where the brain goes. I don't necessarily think about what he's presenting as that type of stake, right? But I will say this. At the very least, you're looking at a situation where he's not detaching from that nuke. And that nuke is going off and wiping out all cells remaining with no chance of survival. Whereas in this case, riding it out, taking the brunt of the explosion, no stake, probably survives, does what he does what the Iron Giant is made to do. The acid definitely in the fight would slow down the process of healing, if anything. Corrosion on the skin, you know what I mean? And then the Iron Giant, if it wants to, can also fight by pulling out the giant lasers and guns and things he's equipped with, because the Iron Giant has a lot of crazy-ass, like, fucking armories, a lot of weapons built into him. But all of that delays the process. It comes down to the explosion of the nuke, and in a Dragon Ball-esque way, every cell is disintegrated.
For me?
My last by Roberto?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you have something to say, I think it can bounce.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, see, he can only be killed by a stake. I mean, I already mentioned it. It's the nuclear missile is the stake itself. It's a mu-ash stake, and it doesn't matter if it's a nuclear missile that explodes because it has the missile form. If it stabbed through the heart, already killed him, and then the explosion can happen after. It doesn't matter. Already killed it before.
A missile is not a stake. A missile, when fired, right, and especially a nuclear missile, it's not a stake. And when you think about the way nukes go off, right, especially, you're talking about dropping something on a target area, right, that, like, if it's being ridden, it's not just like a fucking pew. It is firing towards a target, and once it gets towards its designated explosion area, it's detonating, right? There's a switch that triggers off inside of it. It's not a missile is not a stake. You know, it's not coming down to whether or not it's penetrating the Iron Giant. It's coming down to that explosion, which I once again present you with the Iron Giant's canon timeline of riding it out into space, taking it, wiping out the regen.
I still think it doesn't.
Are we doing a closing on the closing?
That wasn't.
Yeah.
No, because
Final. Go ahead.
I'm saying you talked 3 times. I had to talk 3 times.
Go ahead.
All right. So he's saying explosion on impact. That's what he's saying. I'm saying a nuclear missile doesn't explode on the touch. It explodes like a little bit, like a half a second after the impact. So, but I still stand the point that it's being killed, has a stake, has a nuclear missile on stake, and then it explodes.
Okay, so now you guys are going to talk, and this is going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you still have to have your discussion.
Yeah. Honestly, I was at first with Minh because it was like this argument about going up into the sky, like. You're going to shoot you know what I mean? You're just going to explode yourself.
A draw is not a win.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, well, this is SUPERFIGHT. This is not like a nice little, like, story. But the stake thing, yeah, I don't think a missile is a stake. You know, especially when you think a nuclear missile. You think of, like, a rounded, I think, like, cartoon. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a rounded
I'm thinking
nuclear
like
head.
a pointy thing.
But is that a nuclear missile? Is that how they're made? I don't think pointy because I think
nuclear
Willie's right.
warhead?
You turn something on and then it explodes outward, so you don't need the pointiness. The pointiness might be for something like a cannon type.
It doesn't look like an
gunpowder.
AARM missile fired off of the F-16. It's a different contained thing. That's
kind of what I'm thinking. That's at first I was thinking, oh yeah, missile's a stake for sure. Fuck it.
An atomic bomb, you know.
But yeah, if it's nuclear,
okay.
I don't think they're thinking.
Me, another point of contention was if the kaiju is riding the nuclear missile. Can the Iron Giant, like, take it away himself?
Mm-hmm.
And would the kaiju stay on the missile if the Iron Giant, like...
The Iron Giant has lasers and guns and counter missiles that can fire from a distance, by the way.
Kaiju can be a Godzilla that can survive nuclear missile.
Well, the regrowing thing...
See, but this is not our time to talk, Woolie.
I like asking questions, though. So
I like the exchange. I'm down for exchange.
Like, I have questions.
See, I think this is chaotic. I don't like this. I don't like
Embrace
this
because the chaos, man.
Because there's no rules. There's no like.
That's what's fun about it.
You know?
I think we can have organized discussion.
I agree.
It has to be organized.
I agree. I think we can have organized discussion. But I think the time limit thing is kind of like.
I took it away. But still, see.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. I have to take a decision at this point.
I'm gonna go. Unless you guys can convince me otherwise, I'm going to go with a missile is not a stake, and if you absolutely need a stake to the heart to kill the Iron Giant, I'm going to go with that. Because I do agree with the regrowing thing, it's really strong, but it's not as strong, like the nuclear missile would. Like anything the Iron Giant has can't counter the regrowing, but the missile itself, if exploded, unless the kaiju drops it, runs away. But no, it wouldn't. It has to get the stake to the heart.
The kaiju, assuming that he can survive the explosion of the nuclear missile, even if he stakes the Iron Giant, he would die, and if the Iron Giant goes in the sky, they would both die. So I feel like the Iron Giant has the advantage. Like the nuclear missile, if it explodes, it should take out everything. I don't think there should be a cell left on the kaiju.
Yeah.
And the water balloons, you would need a lot of acid to completely destroy the kaiju, but the nuclear missile thing, unless the kaiju can use the missile and bounce, which doesn't seem to be the case. If it's a stake and you're going in, you're going in. I think the Iron Giant has the advantage in this one.
I'm going Iron Giant.
All right. Thank you. This is the happy sitting Kirby right over here.
He was all ready for it.
Yeah, there's one thing I thought of at the last second too, and even though the round is over, what I thought of is it regrows body parts at will.
At will.
When the brain is disintegrated, there's no longer a will. You just have parts. It's not automatic regeneration.
The will of my body. but
your genetic code would have to be really good to reform the brain.
I mean, a kaiju can be a type of monster. It could be a monster that has a will, has a brain over here or there. Or but anyway, I think that
brain.
At will.
3?
No.
You put your fighter away?
Shit. I'm sorry. Here.
Uh-oh.
See, my dilemma is that he can only be killed by a stake, and I'm like, what do I have that can kill by a stake?
No, that was strong. I was with you. I was with you.
It didn't say it can be killed by a nuclear missile that explodes. It's by radiation. It doesn't say that. So I was like, what did I have to do?
I put the discards over here. Yeah, I didn't even read that extra part carefully, but it's like regrowing at will means there's a condition on the regrowth. The condition is that there needs to be a will, which a nuclear bomb definitely erases a will. A brain is required. Then we can talk about the soul. Okay, how we doing?
Steph is making her mind right now.
Well, I don't know what this one thing is. It's like 2 words that I know what they mean, but together I've never seen that.
Seems like the audience doesn't disagree too hard on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That what? Disagree on what?
The Iron Giant wanting?
That you want?
On the Iron Giant.
But that
there's a discussion going, but
I mean that is saying that you should have won, like that you won.
So far, just at a glance.
Right.
At a glance.
What about the speed of the regeneration?
That's the other factor, right? But
what if nuclear dissolves?
Cell space
instant?
going when he turns into a fucking little black Sambo face with the big lips, full on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we got a robot.
Not any robot. The Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant against the Loch Ness Monster.
Remind me after this that we got to watch that. By the way,
sounds good. And it's faster than a speeding bullet.
Wow.
And machine guns for legs.
Okay.
So what I'm arguing...
Does the winner start or does the challenger?
I guess the challenger.
Challenger.
No, earlier the champion started. You started, Woolie. When I was the challenger, you started.
Okay. So, you guys know the Loch Ness Monster, right? Nessie?
Yes.
One doesn't even exist. Let's be real. It doesn't even exist, right?
It is so good that no one has even seen it because it's faster than a speeding bullet. That is why it's known as a myth.
Okay, so here's the thing, though, right? Nessie doesn't have legs, right? So, machine guns...
How do you know? Never mind, keep going.
Machine guns for legs, Nessie is a water snake.
I'm going
without that a buff. So that is almost like giving a card to someone that can't use it. You know, it's giving an ability.
I'm going to argue that.
Okay.
I'm jumping in.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to cut you off.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we good to go back and forth?
Do you want to
established
party?
this-
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
party.
Go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to say that it is a
Repulsed.
well-known fact that there are vestigial bones in whales, for example, water animals, from the time that they used to walk on land. So thus, those vestigial bones would become machine guns.
Okay, so you're saying it would, like, these tiny little stump, like, no longer gone things would become machine guns.
And
Wonderful.
thank God for the Loch Ness
Okay.
monster, because it had no legs
Machine
before.
guns that have no effect on the Iron Giant whatsoever, because as we have established, in addition to being otherwise invulnerable, you can look at, again, the source material where a whole lot of soldiers had no effect with their guns on the Iron Giant. Not much you can do with those machine guns, quite frankly. The speed it makes it like a bit of it makes it a maneuvering situation, of course, but at the end of the day, you're looking at a water serpent without any effective weapons.
You're blowing over the speed thing, okay? A steak. I would argue that anything could become a steak at the speed of a speeding bullet.
But does
Any part of its body, steak. The guns, steak.
and it's at sacrificing itself in the process, of course.
No, like like the Loch Ness monster has like these weird little
Oh shit!
antennas.
Should we go purple and blue? By the way, at some point.
Do we want to mix that on?
Do we?
Well, I mean, at this point, yes.
Yeah, I think we should.
Because we should make
We're getting
that.
a little late in the run. Okay.
Blue location, purple scenario.
Okay.
So,
As a judge, go for it.
Let's introduce a location.
purple. Purple is the
Scenario.
scenario.
Okay. The scenario is
Gravity is reversed.
Bing. So you're floating.
so that speed is no longer an effective mechanic because you do not have the traction to help you in this situation.
I have machine guns for legs that will propulse me towards the place I need to go
They will
as I float.
very slowly, no longer at a speeding bullet speed. It is
Of course
merely
it
a
What, you think gravity makes you not go fast anymore?
No, I'm saying if we're it's effectively gravity being reversed is effectively like floating in space.
Yeah.
Because we no longer have
Any gravity?
right. So you will move yourself forward with the power of machine guns to propel you forward,
Yes.
whereas the Iron Giant can still pull out weapons that can harm a living thing that is a snake and fight with lasers and guns to kill it.
But I'm so fast. Even
Not in space with reversed gravity.
you kids, things are still fast in space. How do you think like a rocket launcher gets to space? How do you think light goes around? It can still move around in
What's
space.
the blue card?
And I'm using my machine guns to move around. That's the propulsion, right? We don't know how to move around, but I have the propulsion to move around, so the speed is not the issue. It's the propulsion.
Iron Giant is made to fly in zero gravity.
That's
by the way.
perfect. That's
Iron
perfect.
Giant. This reversal, this situation, gravity reversed, doesn't change anything about Iron Giant's
That's
mobility.
great. Mine either.
But whereas we have a gun propulsion system.
And the location. Blue card introduced.
That's super important.
Undersea Research Station.
Oh!
What about gravity? Yeah.
Gravity is reversed, but we're underwater.
Underwater.
What does that mean?
That means there's water everywhere.
What does that do?
So would it be maybe like a station where like the pressure and gravity
Well, here's what I would
are, but then
argue.
it reverse that and it goes out of whack and you float.
It's not underwater. It's in a
under-
research station,
Yeah.
right? And
Undersea.
gravity is reversed. So even if we were to enter the water, what does gravity do in the water?
Still pulls you down.
Well, but like if you're buoyant, you can like float and kind of fight that.
Okay.
But with reversed gravity,
Okay, but
it's not as effective.
when we're in space, when like you see astronauts,
Mhm.
the water just bubbles up into a ball. So let's say we're like in an underwater research station. Well,
But
all
we're
the
not.
water.
We're not in space. Its gravity is reversed.
Yeah, but I'm just imagining my definition of gravity reverse is gravity cancel. Do you guys agree with that? Is that what
Zero
we were talking
gravity?
about? Yeah, that's like how we pictured gravity reversing.
Are you attracted upwards, or are you like not moving?
I was thinking space. I was thinking like we basically have no gravity. Things are just floating.
Okay.
That's my argument.
You can argue with anything. I'm not. Because
if I-
it doesn't mean I accept it or not.
I think if it wanted to say zero gravity, it would say zero gravity, but it specified reversed, which means the opposite of what it is now.
So that means you get propulsed away
Gravity,
from big.
yeah, it would be
reversed.
upwards, yeah.
You get propulsed away from.
Instead of
away
being
from the
like
surface.
minus 9.8 meters per second squared, it would be positive.
It is,
9.8.
whatever you're being pulled down at is now a positive number.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Right? The integer flips. Right? So now you're dealing with a situation, well, quite frankly, again, Iron Giant can survive whether the environment contains oxygen or not. There's no question about its ability to survive in any sort of circumstances whatsoever with reversed gravity affecting the situation. Right? This is a battle where, once again, the Iron Giant has long-range weapons, and unlike the ineffective machine guns on the Iron Giant has long-range weapons that are effective because it's still a bag of flesh. It's a snake made of flesh.
But a fast snake.
Bullets and lasers are going to fuck it up, and that reverse gravity...
Inside a research station, so it doesn't even matter anymore
You would be
because
at
we're
the ceiling
inside
of
a
it, right?
station.
You would
On the
be
ceiling.
So now we're just fighting on normal ground.
Until the station got blown up by the machine gun fire and the lasers, at which point we were then pushed into the water and upwards.
This boils down to is whoever pulls the trigger first, but not even because I'm so fast. So I just need to pull my trigger once. That's like a stake. Goes through your heart.
It's not a stake. It's Iron Giant can take bullets, no problem. It's established in the Iron Giant.
But we're not talking normal Iron Giant rules. We're talking SUPERFIGHT rules where it dies when there's a stake through its heart. And I think a bullet can qualify as a stake here. It would go through its armor and go into its heart.
I think that there's demonstrable evidence of the Iron Giant surviving against guns, and I think that in a situation where Iron Giant can still float, fly, use acid...
Doesn't even matter. None of those things matter. We're inside a research thing.
Use acid.
Yes, it's fine, but I'm so fast. I'm going to dodge that shit.
Melt and disintegrate.
Can you shoot acid faster than a bullet can fly?
There is a limit to what...
I'm going to shoot a bullet and you're going to hit it with acid.
Let me finish a sentence.
No.
There's a limit. Anyway, we gotta move along.
I'll stop.
But there's a limit to what that thing is going to be able to do in reverse gravity, right? The speed becomes an entire questionable. Like, can you fucking even move anymore without anything to grab onto? You know what I mean? To navigate with.
Machine gun for legs.
And if have you seen the movie Gravity? Right? You know how like you, right? Thrusters. That's one thing, right? Iron Giant has those, right? Firing bullets. You're now just you're okay.
It's just like a thruster,
right? You're being pulled upwards, so you're like can you use if you're standing on the ground and you fire a machine gun at the ground, will you fly into the air? Then why would reverse gravity move you downwards? Right? If you fire a machine gun at the ground, you don't fly. Therefore, reverse gravity, it's the same numbers. In reverse. You can't fly downwards with the gun. It's the same frame.
Oh, so then that means I don't even need the machine gun things because I can just walk around. I can just move around just like if...
But there's no surface.
But yeah, because the surface is the underground research lab.
Until it's definitely destroyed by our fighting and our fire, and now we're looking at a situation where you have no surface to latch onto.
And my argument is that we are on the surface. While I'm on the surface, I shoot a bullet into your heart as a stake. That is my resting argument.
Iron Giant can take bullets, no problem. That's not a stake. It's a machine gun. And Iron Giant has again, if the fight lasts long, he can survive in space, no problem, because we eventually are floating that way. And if we're in the facility, laser shots, tons of weapons inside. Acid, you know what I mean? It's a fucking lock. It's a flesh bag. It's a flesh bag that's gonna die.
That can move faster than a speed bullet.
All right, judges.
I vote Woolie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, he said some dumb shit, but Iron Giant
He
wins.
said some dumb shit. He said some not dumb shit. He said a lot of shit. All I'm
take it,
saying
I'll take it.
is that beyond the rules, he can talk forever, and that's his strength. He keeps talking and talking and
Talk
talking
jujitsu.
and talking, and that's why we needed a rule
Crazy
to
talk.
give him less talking time.
You did well.
Thank
You
you.
did well.
I feel I argued my position
I believed, but yeah.
And your
Bravado.
aggression, especially the cutoffs, did do you some strength. You did get some strength out of that. We got a happy Kirby. That's 3. Iron Giant is gone.
Alrighty then. So it's me and Min.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, can you dispose of these? I'll start with the black ones.
Ooh,
The
are we
last
at
three
the-
ones.
Should this be the last game then? 'Cause we're
It
at
is the last game.
Oh, those are the last cards. Okay,
Yeah.
this is it then.
Yeah. Yeah, screw the first.
All right. Whew. Battle of the Wills.
I don't know what that word is.
Let me see. They're
I don't know what it is.
they're here. Let me show you a picture of it. It's from Star Wars.
Okay, what about
What?
what about bitten by radioactive? Draw a random character card.
Yeah, so like it's the Spider-Man effect, except it's a Spider-Man effect, except it's the thing that you're drawing.
I don't
Uh,
even know what's it.
Oh yeah, not
Okay,
sorry, not
Star
that.
Trek.
It's, yes, rather yes, and they fucking repopulate all over and over and over, and then they fill up the ship.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, but I don't get the draw a random character. Oh, I see. I understand.
Got it?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Like,
Well, sounds like an STD, so.
What do we got? First two.
You can
Now
dispose
entering
of
the
these
ring.
in the discard pile.
Discard pals.
Doesn't matter. It's the end of the game.
So, my player is my character 2 Tribbles
Mm-hmm.
from Star Trek. Apparently, they are like small little creatures, and they are invasive, and they reproduce super easily, and they're hard to control.
Okay.
And you're not supposed to travel with them because they're hard to eliminate, and they just spread and spread and spread, and they fuck.
Did you play KOTOR?
No.
Okay. All right.
And they can call orbital bombardments.
Okay.
Hammer of Dawn. Oh my god.
Orbital bombardments. That means bomb count?
Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War or nuclear launch detected.
Okay. Well, you know what? As a Godzilla, it doesn't matter. And bitten by radioactive Hydra. The fuck?
Godzilla bitten by a radioactive Hydra.
Huh.
Hydra being like, you know,
The nine head Hydra?
well, is it 9? What's the number? How many heads does the Hydra have?
3?
It's not Cerberus. I forget. 3? No, 3. Okay. 7. Anyway.
Do you want to start, Min?
So you it's a King Ghidorah, essentially.
Okay, well, hold on. We still need a
Right.
extra
Your
modifier.
second black card?
A second black card. So we're gonna
Wait, we'll do the others.
Yeah. Usually 9 heads, but the number depends on the author.
Okay.
Okay, but
Multi-heads.
I'm the author right now. I said 9, so right?
Multi-heads.
That's fine.
Riding a nuclear missile? Oh, come on.
Again.
No.
Yeah. I mean Godzilla,
Yeah.
right?
You- regrows body. Hold on. Did you shuffle in the used deck?
There's no
everything.
more deck.
It's
But
There's no
we
cards.
each
We
pulled
passed
3
all the
cards,
cards.
so
Oh,
there
there was
are
no-
unused cards
There were
there.
no. There were no black cards left.
Yeah.
There's no
So
black
you know
cards
what?
left, but there's unused cards.
Look. So,
I'll go through-
shuffle it. Show it better.
I'll just choose the first card
The
that we
first
haven't
new, the
used.
first new card.
Yeah, pull a card
Oh,
that
this is
hasn't
the
been
first one
used.
that we haven't used.
Okay. Armed with a dubstep gun,
Pew.
sucks in one of those electric cars for toddlers. Okay, so
Duck.
Two tribbles that can call orbital bombardments stuck in one of those electric cars for toddlers,
Sure.
or Godzilla bitten by a radioactive Hydra armed with a dubstep gun.
Do you want to go first, or you want?
I suppose.
I can go first.
No.
You want to
I'll
take
go
it?
first.
All
I'll
right.
go first. Alright, so I need to see what yours. What's the tribble?
Tribbles are these furry little, fuzzy little creatures from Star Trek that reproduce super fast, and like having two of them means you're gonna have a fuck ton of them
It
in
looks like this.
seconds, if not minutes.
Okay,
Right?
So
You're on a timer for these things to overpopulate and overwhelm you because there's new tribbles popping up all the time. The trouble with tribbles Star Trek episode is the whole ship gets overrun by them.
do we use these cards?
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys can start talking and then we'll bring them in.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just looking at this thing. Two tribbles can call orbital bombardments, and I feel like orbital bombardment does nothing on a Godzilla. But then, stuck in one of those electric cars for toddlers, it's like they can multiply all you want, but you're still stuck inside a car. You cannot get anywhere. Like, what the fuck is that? Does that do? Like, you're not. It feels like you're not doing. You cannot do anything. What attack can you do when I'm a Godzilla bitten by a radioactive Hydra that can armed with a dubstep gun? Like I can bore you to death with my music, with the.
I'm into it.
I can bore you to death or excite you to death depending on whatever emotion happens to you by my dubstep, and that can kill you. But that's not just it. I have Hydra. I can have multiple Godzilla heads and then like bite you.
Reggie?
Right.
All right. So we already have two tribbles, right?
Two tribbles.
And we assume that this is in their best condition.
Wow, you
because
have 4 tribbles?
I already do.
I can't believe you have 8 tribbles.
Damn.
So they're reproducing, right? You see
Right.
two tribbles, but like there's
Yeah.
already a bunch, right?
Right.
You have to get there pretty fast. They actually, when they started, they were not reproducing that fast, but then they were genetically engineered,
Okay.
started reproducing to the point where they had to flee a planet to escape tribbles because they took over. That's how fast they reproduce. So by the time you see 2, there's already 16.
Okay.
They can spread around. You might miss a single one, and each and every one of them can call an orbital bombardment. You're a Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
You can be bitten
Mm-hmm.
by a radioactive Hydra
Mhm.
with a dubstep gun, but it doesn't matter because I can call orbital bombardments plural, which means that even if you survive one, I can call as many orbital bombardments as I have tribbles available.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started talking, and we already have like 256 tribbles
God
running around.
damn.
Not only that, the first 2 are stuck in the electric car for toddler, but we're at 256 now. We took over the whole park. The kids are gone. There's nobody else. And you're Godzilla, you think that you're going to be able to take care of the tribble where they were able to displace entire populations and cause the death of people and abandoning ships? I don't think it's enough. I think Godzilla is going down on that one.
My turn?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Keep multiplying because you're gonna be die by death because you're all stuck in a car and eventually
You'll die by death?
The worst kind of
Oh my god.
Oh my god. You're
I
gonna
can't believe
die
it.
by the lack of space inside the car. So keep multiplying because there's no space. You have no space.
We're gonna go all around the car.
No, that's
it's
not-
an open toddler
it doesn't
car.
say that. It
You
says
can't-
it's stuck. It says stuck. You said stuck inside the car.
Yeah, the first
so that
2
means
maybe.
the first 2, no, all
They're
all-
reproducing, and
They're
it's not.
reproducing inside the car.
It's an
It doesn't
electric
say,
car
the
for
car
toddler.
doesn't say that you're producing outside.
You
How
must
do you
define-
reproduce? How do you reproduce? Are you gonna go outside?
All right,
It doesn't say that.
pause. I wanna move you guys past this point because those
Okay,
electric
fine.
cars for toddlers
They're
are
open.
generally open-ended.
And
They're
you
gonna get
cannot,
crushed.
you cannot have toddlers in a closed car because that's dangerous.
And they'd be moving out of that. But let's introduce
there are no windows on that.
our scenario.
They're already like overflowing.
The fighters are inside gigantic, robotic
Draw a random character card.
Stegosauruses,
So many variables.
and they are fighting on the slope of an erupting volcano.
That makes no sense at all.
Okay.
No, that's fair. That's just because you have to picture it. I can picture your doom right now.
All right, so we have two tribbles eventually becoming countless tribbles,
Yeah, okay.
calling on orbital bombardments, stuck in one of those electric cars for toddlers. They're fighting inside of robotic stegosauruses, or Godzilla fighting inside of a robotic stegosaurus who's been bitten by a radioactive hydra armed with a dubstep gun. There's multiple heads. Of course, you also know with hydras you have to kill all the heads before it dies. And
But
they're
that's
fighting,
irrelevant, right?
and they're fighting on the slope of a volcano. I gave him a fact. I'm giving
Yes,
you a fact that you
that's
both
okay.
you both got
You
a
know-
little fact out
you know,
of
so-
it because I don't know if Steph
I
knew
didn't
that.
know. No.
Steph didn't know that. Okay.
So you know, your bombardments, to me, it doesn't equal to a nuke. And if it does equal to a nuke, Godzilla, you know that is made of a nuke. So you the bombardier does nothing. It doesn't scratch me at all. as a
Because
Godzilla.
he's made of a because he's radioactive.
He's
He's immune to a nuclear explosion
Yeah.
or an orbital laser proton cannon thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound scientifically sound to me.
But
Even in the context of this.
I mean,
though.
the context is not scientific to begin with, anyway. So I'm making my case right now.
All right.
All I'm saying. Inside a
listening.
volcano. Okay, so he says here inside of fighting in a volcano, right?
On the slope of an erupting
Something like that.
volcano.
But inside the body.
Volcanic rim.
Yeah, pretty much.
But inside a dinosaur.
Yep, inside a giant mechanical
Robotic
giant
dinosaur.
robotic stegosaur.
So the dinosaur must have been
Stegosaur.
so huge that it's bigger than a fucking planet has to be.
No, it
Because
just
like
has to
had a
be
Godzilla,
big
I'm
enough
huge.
to contain Godzilla
No, a
and
volcano.
a tiny car with tribbles
Yeah,
that are
but and a
already
volcano. It
multiplied.
has to be a.
On the
think
side
there's
of a
robot
volcano.
on the volcano.
Exactly. You have the volcano like this, right? And then on the side, somewhere on the mountain, because it's a big mountain, you have a huge giant metal stegosaurus, and we're inside Godzilla, and it's erupting and whatever.
I don't have anything more to say.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't seen Star Trek was?
Oh, do
Yeah.
I get my side of things too?
I
After
mean,
we
my
release these
turn
cards?
is over. This is you
Yeah,
can
it's my
say.
turn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to speak before I speak?
No, go for it.
Okay, so
Closing thoughts?
yeah, the two tribbles were inside that giant stegosaurus, right? Orbital bombardments. I can have them do it strategically and not fuck myself up. We're in the same space right now, but they're tribbles. They're gonna probably overflow the stegosaurus. And they're gonna get out anyway because they're multiplying. So some are going to survive anyway if I
You see, you're
attack
cheating.
you.
You get it by saying overflow. You're going outside of whatever.
Well, can you overflow out of the giant robotic stegosaurus? Because I can. There are holes. I'm sure it's not air.
The text
airtight.
there doesn't say that you can.
That doesn't say I can't.
Okay. So
I'm imagining-
Okay. How about that? Your orbital. Orbital implies that it comes from space or whatever, right?
Yes.
But inside a robot, so your orbital does nothing because it by the time that it comes towards with your attack, your orbital bombardment, the robot of the dinosaurs are already blocking it. So it does not enter our arena of space. That attack does nothing.
okay, let's judge.
Okay.
I think we should judge.
I'll let you judge first since I'm less familiar with these monsters.
Got it. Okay, so here's how I'm calling it, right? Quite
Until you
simply,
make it.
quite simply, here's the facts, right? The tribbles will probably overrun their containers, right? The first two being stuck is irrelevant because it happened. If it was any other thing that didn't multiply,
Yeah.
then we'd be talking differently. But these things multiply, they will overrun whatever they're contained in. That's the way that goes. However, they have no capability of fighting on their own. All they have is the orbital strikes they can call down.
Yes.
Now,
or just smothering.
Now we have a case of what are the orbital strike capabilities? Now, orbital strikes can be lasers, or we can be talking about nukes. We could be talking about just bombardment, period, like just explosives. While that might, in enough numbers, blow up the Mechastegosaurus, Godzilla himself is pretty fucking untouched by these types of weapons touching him, right? Godzilla survives orbital bombardments for free. Probably, in some cases, gets powered up by them. Possibly even feeds him to the ability that he can do a laser breath. And that laser breath is going to wipe the fuck out of a whole lot of tribbles. So it's pretty much a countdown to laser breath. Now, if we're talking about a Hydra, we're talking about multiple heads. Multiple heads doing super-powered, crazy-ass laser breath. And every time you cut a head off, 2 replace it. That's what a Hydra does. You got to kill all the heads for it to die simultaneously. Otherwise, 2 heads are replacing it. That's a whole lot of laser breaths coming back in. Each bombardment might do something, but it's not enough. I think Godzilla's going to take it.
I was thinking smothering, though. Do you think that they'll be able to kill the tribbles before the tribbles smother the monster?
I think that enough tribbles doing enough orbital bombardments, like...
But even if we forget the bombardment...
Just inside the Stegosaurus.
I don't know how fast... That's why I was like, I'll let you go first, because I don't know how fast they reproduce. But I'm thinking if it's constantly reproducing... Before long, the whole robot is taken up, and then
Godzilla is also, like, if we're thinking about like the Shin Godzilla type of Godzilla, you're talking about something where within a certain distance of being near him, the tribble's dead. Like, It is a heated up, it is a walking nuke factory. It is radiation, it is death, right? With all those heads involved, shooting lasers out in every direction, the planet they're on is at risk. With all those orbital bombardments, the volcano is almost irrelevant. I think the tribbles and their bombardments, they're possibly blowing themselves up if they're too close. Godzilla with the ability to do that laser breath with multiple heads is a free win.
Okay, I'll go with you then.
Well, I will call bullshit on this whole process. You did the reverse of what we did, which was fight his fight and explain how he would like... You didn't look at what we said. You said, like, this is how I see it.
To be honest, I was going to say that too. I was going to say,
I
don't think... No, because you said you talk first. No, I mean, I just... Wait here. Okay. I was going to say that I'm not accepting this win because...
I did the work.
Because the argument that you're judging or argument that you made and you're not taking from my argument.
Yeah,
you're not,
exactly.
You're saying Godzilla win. You didn't say I win. I didn't make the argument. That's what I mean.
Who are we voting for? Who's going to win the fight, or who made the better argument?
I thought it was the argument.
I thought it was the argument.
Apparently, Woolie is saying, like, Godzilla is way too strong. It wouldn't affect him. Regardless of what Mid said, Godzilla wins.
But the argument can sway how you perceive the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, you guys didn't sway it enough, but with the information that Woolie has,
at no point I mentioned that the Hydra can shoot laser nuclear breath.
But
it was not part of my argument.
But Hydras, like the regrowing heads, for example, is what Hydras do.
Right.
So when I see the word Hydra, that's what I'm going to think about.
But I mean, the nuclear, the radioactive breath, I never mentioned that.
And the mega nuke, walking around nuke.
So also. Yeah, those are not arguments that I made. So I didn't feel like
if he had said that,
all right.
Yeah, he would.
Well, how about this?
But from what he
said, some cases it's the argument, in some cases it's the character. I guess that's what the debate is.
Sometimes it's the judge.
Well, the judge makes the final decision. No matter what you want to fight for, whether it's the character
it's true.
or the argument is up to the judge. And in this case, the judge has decided.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for me.
Okay. So there you go. As much as you want to fight for the loss, the judge decides that your characters have a better chance than you can argue for them.
All right, I win. Yeah.
Public defender Min over here. Oh, God.
Okay, that was
Give
good.
the man his Kirby.
Here's your Kirby.
Oh, yeah, I got one Kirby.
So apparently there are like booster packs.
Yeah,
who'd you get?
This is the sad Kirby.
No. He's fat. He inflated air.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta hold up. There you go. He's in the middle of sucking. There you go.
So I see we technically have a tie.
We do technically have a tie.
Should we break it with the two?
I say white card battle.
2 white cards.
White card battle.
We're just about there. To be honest.
A quick.
All right, really quick.
One.
Woolie, you have a water buffalo.
Okay.
Steph, you have a raccoon.
You win.
I
I
win.
could argue,
I
but
win.
I think we're past the
One
argument.
raccoon,
This was just a quick
one water buffalo.
sudden
And the
death.
final card was
Sudden death.
the player to your right.
Oh!
Oh,
Reggie versus a water buffalo. Fuck that! Reggie versus a raccoon. You still lose.
No, I can take raccoon.
You're terrified.
This is bullshit.
Would you stand up to a raccoon? Have you ever seen an angry raccoon? We all lose. We all lose to a raccoon, bro.
Reggie.
If I have to defend you guys, I will take on the
Reggie, as a
raccoon.
judge, you have to defend yourself now.
Oh my,
Alright.
bro, we all fucking cowered out to that raccoon.
I bow down to the.
They're small and angry and fucking terrifying, man. Nah. Anything that can hiss at you and crawl up your back and,
Yeah,
and
no.
scratch and
And
bite.
rabies.
Oh my
Rabies,
God.
rabies, bro. Even if you win the fight, you lose the fight.
Can't win.
Alright, that's gonna do it. That was pretty good. Ugh.
So,
I'm
GG's, good night,
I am
good games.
tired of talking. Could you believe?
I'm tired of hearing you.
I am so tired of
Are you
talking.
saying this is the time for me to bring up all like our arguments?
Oh man, now's the
Our couples
down for the
arguments?
count. Like now,
You're tired of talking. I could just win all the shit.
now is when you can come in with anything, and I'm just gonna have to fucking take it. Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. That's the first Tablelord session. Hope you
Returns.
enjoyed. Tablelord returns. We will be back sometime. We'll pick some other games. Min's got some fun stuff. I got
Yeah.
some fun stuff. Anybody that has ideas for board games you'd love to see us do. Ideally, stuff we can contain to a session. You know, anything that is a long campaign, try to think about suggestions for things that would make sense for a single night of streaming, because we definitely want to be able to move on to different games more than stick with one.
Yes.
Right? So try to think about like the length of a given campaign or a given game. But definitely throw me your suggestions for anything Tablelords you guys want to see. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care.
Bye.
Hey.